This is number 3 in your Pythagorean theorem foldable. So we're asked to find the perimeter and the area. So we have to do two different things for this shape. So the first one is perimeter. Remember, for perimeter, you add all the sides around. So you got to go around the outside of your figure and add up all of the sides. And then we need to find the area, which is for a triangle, the area of a triangle. Ooh, that's a nice little triangle. Looks like a Hershey kiss, equals 1/2 times the base times the height. Okay, so those are the two things we have to find. And you could do whichever one you want first. So let's take a look at our picture. We do have in this picture this big whole triangle. We are not sure if this whole thing is a right triangle or not. But we do know that this one down here is a right triangle. So we do have this right triangle down here that is, we'll call this one the yellow guy. And actually, we have one on the other side also, because remember, if you have a box there, remember, these are a linear pair, so they have to add it to be 180. So if this is 90, then that one has to be 92. So we do have a right triangle on the other side also. So we have a green triangle and a yellow triangle that we know are right triangles. And remember, if they are right triangles, then we know we can use Pythagorean theorem and we can use sine, cosine, tangent. We can't use it on the whole big one because we are not sure if this whole big one is a right triangle or not. But I can use it on the yellow guy and I could use it on the green guy. Okay, so let's see what information we need. So for perimeter, we do need all the sides. So if I start like here and start going around the outside, I have this 5, so that's cool. I have this 3, and then I have this 7, and then I don't have this side over here. So I'm missing one of my sides to add up. So I will have to see if I have enough information in this green triangle to try to get me this side over here, this AB side. But if I look at this green triangle, it looks like I only have one itty bitty thing so far. And you can't really get anything if you only have one piece of information. If I have like an angle and a side, I could use sine, cosine, tangent. Or if I have two sides, I can use Pythagorean theorem. But I can't really do much with just a 7. That's all I have in the green guy. So let's look at the yellow guy. Also, remember when we're trying to find area, we need 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2, obviously that's, you just multiply by the half, but the base is going to be this whole bottom all the way across here, which I think I actually have because this is 7 and this is 3. So the whole base is 10. So I do have the base. Do I have the height though? So remember, height is always going to go straight up. So it's going to be actually the altitude of your triangle. So if you're thinking of a triangle that looks like this, the altitude is always going to come straight up from the bottom. Oopsie. Straight up from the bottom. That is not straight up from the bottom. Trying to make it straight up from the bottom, so that it makes a right angle at the bottom here. So that's what an altitude is, and that's always going to be your height. So it's got to be straight up from the bottom. Like if you are standing here and I'm going to measure how tall you are, if this is you, remember that I'm going to measure straight from the ground, straight up to the top of your head, right? Like that red line. I'm never going to measure from over here and say, oh, you are 7 feet tall. That doesn't even make sense, right? So remember, height is always going to be straight up and down, and that is your altitude of your triangle. And remember, you're allowed to spin a triangle. I'll get rid of this little man down here. Okay, so that's what an altitude is. So let's look at this yellow triangle though, because we have a 5 and a 3. So we have more information about the yellow triangle, and we have 2 pieces of information. So we could probably do Pythagorean theorem, or we can do maybe a sine, cosine, tangent if we needed an angle. But if I have one, this side over here and this side over here of this yellow guy, I can use Pythagorean theorem to find the third side. So I'm going to use the yellow triangle. In the yellow triangle, I'm going to use the a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find the missing side length, this pink side right here. Okay, so when I look at this picture, remember that the C has to be the hypotenuse. So if I'm looking at my right angle, I go across here. So this is going to be my hypotenuse, right? That's my H. So remember, he has to be C. So I'm going to call him C. So this is my C. And remember, A and B could be either side I want. So I'm just going to rando call this guy A down here, and I'm going to call this guy B up here. So I'm looking, remember, I'm only doing the yellow triangle right now. So let's go ahead and plug in our numbers. So our A value is 3. So that's going to be 3 to the second power plus our B, which is missing. So I'm going to keep him B to the second power. No sense in giving him a new variable. I'll just call him B squared equals. C is over on the side here, and that is 5 to the second power. I'm going to keep my stuff in parentheses when I sub it in, just so I don't mess anything up. Okay, now I'm going to do my math. So what do I have here? 3 to the second power is 9 plus, I still have B squared equals 5 to the second power is 25. And now I'm going to use some algebra to get B on the side by itself. So that means I have to subtract 9 on both sides. So I'm going to get B squared equals 16. 15 minus 9. Okay, now remember, we're not all the way done. We have to get rid of this squared. And remember, to undo a squared, then we square root. So we do have to square root both sides. So square root of 16 is going to be 4. Now you might say, oh, it could be -4 also, but we're talking about side length, so that's literally impossible. So we do have the height now of our triangle is 4. So this is 4 tall. Okay, now look at this. We can go back to the green triangle now, because if we knew this side is 4 and this side 7, we can certainly find the third side of that. So let's go to the green triangle now. So I can do my Pythagorean theorem on my green one now, because I have 2 of the sides, the 4 and the 7. So remember, go opposite the right angle. So this is going to be my C. You know what? There's already a B there, so I'm going to keep that B, and I'm going to call this guy at the bottom A. Okay, so I can do A squared plus B squared equals C squared, because he is a right triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. All I'm doing is trying to find all the missing parts I need for my perimeter and area. So A squared, that's going to be my 7 squared, plus my B squared. I'm talking about my green triangle now. I should have done my writing in green to match. Oh, well. That's a 4, right? So 4 squared equals C squared is what I am missing. So that is my hypotenuse. I do not have that. I'm going to do some math here. 7 squared is 49 plus 4 squared is 16 equals C squared. And if I think about doing my algebra, these are like terms on the same side. So what is 49 plus 16? That is a 65. 65 equals C squared. And then I need one last step. Square root both sides to get C by itself. And when I put that in my calculator, I get a decimal. I'm going to go ahead and round it to 8.06. Sound good? Check that on your calculator. Remember, push those in the calculator with me, so that way you make sure they're good. So that means this side over here is 8.06. Okay, it looks like I have all my pieces now. So now I can easily find my perimeter and also find my area. So let's go ahead and do perimeter first. So that's adding the sides all the way around. So that means you have to start at one part of your shape and just drive around the shape and get all the sides. So I will go ahead and highlight in pink as I go. So I'll start with A down here. So coming up this side, that is an 8.06 plus. I'm continuing to drive around my shape. So I'm coming down this side now, and that was a 5 plus 5 plus, continue to drive with my shape. I can go that 3 and that 7. So the 3 and the 7 together, that's a 3 plus 3. Oh my gosh. Come on. 3 plus a 7. And that takes me all the way around the shape. So if I add up all those together, I get 23.06. So that is my perimeter. I'm going to write perimeter. And that perimeter, and that isn't a squiggly. I'm going to change that to squiggly because it's approximately. Okay, good on that one. Okay, now I got to find my area. I'll use this space over here. So remember, area is going to be 1/2 times base times the height, right? 1/2 times the base times the height. So that's going to be A equals 1/2. My base is the bottom of my triangle, so all the way across, because I want to do my whole big triangle. That's a 10. And my height, I just found it. That is a 4. So 1/2 times 10 times 4, and that gives me 20. And we don't have the unit of measure on here, so this would be 20 units squared. That is number 3.